Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Rabbi Promo's weekly Torah message. I hope that you had a wonderful week last week. We just ended Hanukkah, so I'm having a tough time getting into the seat comfortably, after all those donuts and latkes. But I have a very important message that I'd like to share with you this week. We are right now going to be finishing the book of Genesis in the Torah reading for the weekly portion. And I thought that would be a timely message for us today. The first couple of words of the portion starts, Vaychi Yaakov be'eretz Mitzrayim shva esrei shana, which generally means that Jacob lived in the land of Egypt for 17 years. Okay, thank you very much. This is our production assistant back there. That's completely destroying my office and throwing me off. But I'm not going to be deterred, ladies and gentlemen. This message will be given no matter what the circumstances are. Thank you very much. It's hard to find good help these days. Okay, where was I? So Jacob lived in Egypt for 17 years. And what the commentators say about this is not only that he lived for 17 years, but these were the best 17 years of his life. Why were they the best 17 years of his life? Because finally, after the turmoil and all of the ups and downs, vicissitudes that Jacob had to go through, first, with his brother, then with his family and his father-in-law, and finally coming to Israel to settle, and then Joseph gets sent away. Now he has all of his family surrounding him. I know some of us would rather not have their families surrounding them, and that's the way they would be the happiest. But not Jacob. Jacob was actually a family man, and here were all his sons and daughter-in-laws and grandchildren and great-grandchildren, and all sitting around him and all living together in peace and in harmony. And Joseph, his most beloved son, the viceroy of Egypt. So commentators say that Vaychi Yaakov, when the portion says that Jacob lived, it wasn't only that he was just living and going through the motions, but that he actually had spent the 17 best years in Egypt. Which leads us to a question. Because Jacob understood and knew that the land of Israel that he had lived in prior to coming down to Egypt was promised to his grandfather Abraham to be the land that the Jewish people would settle and to make their own. He understood the holiness. So how does Jacob live the best 17 years in a foreign land in Egypt, far away from where he wants to be in Israel? The answer is, ladies and gentlemen, and I think this is the message for all of us. Jacob was worried. He was worried coming down to Egypt that they were in a foreign culture. And the Jews in a foreign culture, being a minority, is not always the best circumstance, because you can easily get lost in the wider culture. Egypt was a pagan nation. It was full of idolaters. And Jacob was very worried that Jews would succumb to this kind of pressure to assimilate. Once he saw that this was not going to happen, once he realized that, that they could be in Egypt and still maintain all of the Jewish traditions that he brought down from Israel, Jacob was confident. And not only was he confident, but he saw in the future that the Jews will be spending a tremendous amount of time out of Israel in places like Spain and Iraq and in Poland and in Russia. How are the Jews going to survive? How are they going to survive in a foreign culture with all of the unique mitzvahs, commandments that we have in our own little world? How are they going to be able to withstand all of this pressure? And Jacob realized that the 17 years that he was in Egypt and that his children remained loyal to Judaism, he became completely confident that even though that we may be out of Israel, we still have the strength to maintain our Judaism. So ladies and gentlemen, let me bring it up here to the present day. What does that have to do with me and you when we talk about this portion? It's not a historical book, the Torah. The Torah is a book of lessons. We find ourselves in America. It's so easy to get lost here. Culture loves us here. Oh, the Americans love us. And we feel so happy and confident here in the United States. The problem is assimilation. That it's so easy being an American that we sometimes forget what our roots are. We sometimes forget that, maintaining that uniqueness that makes us Jewish is not pertinent to us here in America. Oh, come on, going to shul on Friday night, boring. Going to shul on Saturday morning, outdated. services Sunday morning, sending your children to Jewish day school, maintaining a Jewish household with kosher. Come on, Rabbi. You know how it is. I live in Long Beach, California. You know how many kosher places there are here? None. Zero. So you're telling me that, Rabbi, you want me to maintain kosher, so I should drive up to LA for 2 hours to enjoy a $15 burger? Come on, Rabbi. We can't do that. Jacob realized, yes, we can. Every one of us has the strength in ourselves, and to maintain what is important to keep this wonderful religion going. Our heritage and our history are vitally important. And who do we need? You. You, my fellow listener and watcher and friend and congregant and colleague. And we need every single one of us to do our effort. Jacob knew it, I know it, and you know it, that it is very possible here in the United States to maintain Judaism. Ladies and gentlemen, let's keep it going, and until next week, have a wonderful day.